My man just hopped the fence. Mad thing. He just hopped the spike. I'm gonna show you like the fence afterwards, man. That's a spike fence act. Raw, the sun has got people moving mad. Welcome back to the channel, nevertheless. Welcome back to episode 5 of Shifting Your Paradigm. The sun is out today. I hope you guys have had something planned if you're watching this in the evening, or if you're watching this in the daytime. I hope you got something lovely planned for the rest of your day, including hitting that subscribe button. Not now. What we will be talking about today, I don't hit these videos with a script. I literally just want to share my thoughts and opinions on certain subjects, and one subject in specific that I just wanted to share my ideology about is sex before marriage. I feel like this topic often doesn't really get spoken about. I think we get told or taught that obviously sex before marriage is wrong, but that's where it ends. We don't necessarily delve into the reasons why. I would like to just share my opinion on why I think it's important. My perspective on this is, obviously, historically, we've been taught that sex before marriage is wrong, right? Especially if you're religious, you're taught that you need to refrain from having sex outside of marriage. You're supposed to find your wife, your partner, build, have a relationship, marry, and then you can have sex, in which you would then reproduce and have kids. Like, that's the whole reason of sex. I saw a clip on TikTok today that was talking about something similar to this. He was saying, like, sex is a covenant between two people. Like, in the spiritual realm, it's a covenant. I think we're forgetting what sex actually is. Sex between two people is, I'm not going to say supposedly because I believe this too, but it's a covenant between two spiritual beings, that they are in a spiritual realm entwined or embedded together now. What the intent is you find your wife, and then you spiritually bind with your wife in a spiritual realm as well as in a physical realm, and you become one. Now, sex outside of marriage would mean that you're just creating covenants and spiritual bonds with just everybody. You're just out here just bonding out, just handing out bonds like the bank. That's what the idea is behind it. What my perspective is I think it goes more than just being a covenant between like two people. I think the whole reason sex inside of marriage is important is because I feel like the main focus is the offspring, like the kids that come afterwards and follow me and cooking son. So essentially, if you are a man and you find your wife that you fall in love with and you actually marry her without having sex, like you actually marry her or you actually really hold that down with no sex involved, I can guarantee you, dog, you like this girl. Like, guarantee you, dog, like, if you're actually hanging around, which is good, this is a good thing, but if you're actually just chilling, like, you're hanging about, you're just loafing about, having a good time, dinners, whatever, but you're just not doing a deed, and you're just consistently just, you get me, you two are just here with it. I think then, if you go and then get married, and then you actually have sex, what that bond is saying, you've now bonded obviously in a spiritual realm, but what is more important, what I think is more important, is the fact that if you have sex with this woman that you like, in the instance that a child is produced, because that is what sex is for, reproduction. I think because people, you get me, because hitting it feels a bit nice, the man then forget that the whole reason that you have sex is actually to have kids, and then you get mad when a girl gets pregnant. You get me? It don't make no sense. It don't make sense. It's like blowing a candle on a cake, fam, and then when the candle goes out, you get mad. But what I'm saying is, why I think sex outside of marriage is forbidden is because of not only the covenant that you form between two beings when you have sex in the spiritual realm, but more so for the fact that the marriage solidifies a home for the child, if a child is produced when you're having sex. Clapping emojis. If that doesn't go over your head, because basically what I'm seeing, guys, this is what I'm seeing. We are having sex outside of marriage with women that we ultimately don't love, and I'm speaking from the men's perspective, innit? And I can't speak for all men, but I'm speaking for myself anyway. In the past, I'll speak for myself. Having sex with females that you don't wholeheartedly love or that you wouldn't marry does not produce a sustainable or a healthy environment for a child to have a good upbringing in the instance that you get the girl pregnant. because you don't even like the girl enough to marry her or to be in a relationship with her long term, or build that proper foundation. Do you get what I'm saying? That's what I mean. Obviously there's a lot of constraints that come with marriage in terms of legalities, and you get me, your assets and all that. I understand all of that, but what I'm saying in terms of the foundation is, if you marry a woman, you rock with this woman essentially, innit? So now if a child is introduced to this home that you've already built, the likelihood that this child is going to grow up in a healthy and thriving environment is increased sporadically in comparison to the households, like majority households from my neighborhood, single parent households, where there hasn't been a marriage or a foundation built, a baby has been formed. How you doing, lovely? Because that home foundation hasn't been built between the mother and the father, when the child is now introduced to this home, it's not even a home and it's broken. And this is where trauma is picked up, unbalanced parenting is picked up in terms of like the masculinity traits and the femininity traits. You need to grow up with divine energy balanced. I don't feel like a lot of the time our children in this generation is picking up divine balance from the household, and this is because a lot of the kids are coming up from broken homes, i.e. not only being financially deprived, but these kids being conceived during these sexual activities outside of marriage. You get what I just feel like in the Bible and stuff, when it teaches about the importance of finding your wife, is not only because you're keeping yourself safe, but more so for the fact that if you have a child, it's no longer about just you, innit? Once you find your wife and you love your wife and you actually love her, where you marry her, if you have a child, you're not going to be mad, you're not going to leave, bro. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, do you get where I'm going with this? I just find that in sex outside of marriage with girls that we're not committed to, it's easier for us to leave the relationship because we never even entered that foundation or that solitude of a marriage in the first place. And when we leave, we may have conceived a child who would then be birthed into an environment which isn't wholeheartedly healthy for that child to grow up, get moral values, get the appropriate nurturing and education to not be a danger to our society. That's basically where I'm going with this. And I feel like if you apply my thinking to the state of the world now, and you actually look at the statistics of the single parent households that are coming up, the amount of kids that are coming up from deprived backgrounds, broken homes, where things like this is happening, where even if the mother and the father are still co-parenting, they're not in the same household, and that's broken, bro. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not a foundation, it's not a solitude for a child to come into and then grow. You don't put a flower seed in soil and don't water it. It needs both. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like, you can't put the seed in the soil and then just put the water over there, bro, and the water just comes and just pokes his head out every now and again. I can just checks on the seed. Nah, bro. Or inconsistently waters the seed. Bro, there's a rotor. If you want the flower to grow, there's hella flowers around me. The sun is out right now. You want your flowers to grow, you put the seed in the soil and then you water it. And you provide it with a nurturing, healthy environment for that flower to then grow and blossom, right? Why do you think you can have the seed, which is remember we want seeds, come into this environment which is broken, which isn't soil and water, it's just soil or water, or sometimes neither of them. Do you understand what I'm saying? Or the soil's meaty, like meaty soil. Put them in a healthy environment. You'll be putting these seeds, these kids, into homes and then having the water just watching, or having the soil being poisonous and poisoning the seed. You understand what I'm saying? It's not healthy. So we need to apply the same teachings and the same methodologies that we're doing for all these other things. You know how to grow crops, bro. So man can't tell me you don't know how to grow healthy utes. We know what we need to add. We know how much we need to watch it and face how much sunlight it needs. How much of our utes are getting sunlight? Okay, I'm going off topic, man. That's not about sex, is it? But in a nutshell, when people have sex inside a marriage, the likelihood that the child is going to grow up appropriately nurtured is increased significantly. What is responsible for the state of our society at the moment is the amount of young people that are coming up from homes that are broken, where they're not receiving appropriate nurturing. And this is because a lot of these young people are coming from being conceived outside of marriage. They were conceived outside of marriage. And it's showing in today's climate. We don't really value the concept of marriage as much as we once did. And that's for reasons that I can't even explain, if I'm honest with you. That's beyond me. That you gotta ask someone else about that. But for us, I feel like us losing the principalities of marriage and building a home, like we don't really desire to build a home anymore. Back in the day, we had like my wife and kids. That was a role model household for the black households. You understand what I'm saying? They took that off the TV, bro. Like things like that, you lot probably aren't clocking. We had a role model household, a wife, a husband, growing 3 kids. What the dynamics of the parenting looked like. The femininity traits from Jay, the masculine traits from Michael, for example, Junior, how they dealt with him, how one parent would deal with him versus another parent, how they deal with him, how it would come to us. Like all of these things, bro, even though, for example, Junior still had his mess ups, that is a household that was fit to raise children. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like both of them are there, both of them can nurture the kids appropriately. Whereas if it was just my kid, look at me, look, last week on my kid, and it was just flipping Michael and Junior. It's like, what? How differently would that show have been, bro? Even if it was just Michael and Junior and all the 3 girls, you need the balance. You need both parents, and the marriage is what signifies that constitution between the man and the woman, that commitment to each other to say, like, can we build a home? Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, man, through sickness and in health, man's gonna say through thick and thin. Through sickness and in health, can we build a home? You get me? For when you're down, can we build a home? When I'm down, can we still build a home? Why? Because we can build something so that in the instance that we do have a child or we plan to have a child, which a lot of people do when they get married, this child is gonna grow up in a fortified home where they're gonna receive the love and nurturing that every young person, every child, every soul that comes here deserves to get, bro. You get me? We deserve to be nurtured appropriately so we get a good, fair head start. We need a fair start at life, bro. This thing's hard. Man shouldn't be starting disadvantaged because of these little small things. The more that we're just out here just dishing it out to any and everyone, boys and girls, men and women, it's like when that child comes about, we haven't made any agreement. We ain't signed no contract. We ain't even had a conversation furthermore with the other party to say, cool, in the instance that we have a child, what's gonna happen? All you do is just leave yourself to find out when it's too late. You made your bed, say, am I lying? That's what they tell you. That's trauma in itself. How can you make a mistake and then the only feedback that you get is you made your bed, now lie in it, fam? That's dark, fam. This is the world we're living in, though. I'm telling you for free, so don't make that bet. I'd love to be able to sit here and say I'm a virgin. Big man thing, I would love to be able to say that. I'll feel good saying that, but unfortunately, no, I'm not. But for me, what I do is I'm only with people that, like, I'm not even talking about having sex. I'm only with females, full stop, that I see a partnership or a long-term sustainable bond with. Like, it's so that in the instance that does happen and we conceive a child, I'm not leaving. Like, I'm not gonna cut any woman that I'm seeing as soon as I no longer see a future with this woman, or I don't see it working out long term, or I even get the inkling in my head that if she got pregnant, would I be happy? Like, as soon as these types of thoughts cross my mind, I'm out. Let's just fall back on the sex and do the friendship thing, man. Cause sex is to reproduce. Man's not really trying to reproduce with you, understand? So why are we doing it? People need to actually rate themselves. Like, rate yourself. I don't want to reproduce with you, so I'm not gonna have sex with you. That's it. Fuck the feeling. I'm not pastor, priest, know it all either. I don't get everything right. At least for me, I understand what I explained to you before in terms of I'm only ever reproducing with girls who I'm going to try my utmost best to create an environment for a child if they are conceived with that woman that I'm reproducing with. I'm not going to just be having sex with any and everyone, because in the instance that they get pregnant, it's not fair on that child. I think if you start to look at things through my lens a little bit more, I think you will even be able to be a bit more careful with what you're doing, make better decisions with who you're sharing yourself with. Relook at marriage. You get me? Marriage, I know it's a long-term, lifelong commitment and stuff, but even if you're not getting married with your partner, are you building whoever you're having sex with? Have you built or had that conversation where in the instance this happens, are you going to build that fortified home where it's no longer about you and it's about the you? Are you mature enough to make that sacrifice now for the kid? And if you're not, then the answer is easy, innit? Just stop doing it, bro. Like, literally just stop cheating for now. Just chill out or be safe. Make sure that you're being proper safe. But my first answer is just stop doing it and just find your wife. What's people's opinion on marriage nowadays, man? marriage rates are dropping. I'm hearing like hell. I know that women and men aren't carrying the same values that they used to, so this might make it a bit more difficult to see marriage as something that's worth it. I guess that's the argument, but yeah, I don't know it all. I'm interested to hear what you guys think about marriage as well. That's a whole nother conversation. But stop having sex outside of marriage if you're not prepared to create a healthy environment for the kid that may come alongside that sex that you're having. That's all I gotta say, man. Shifting Your Paradigm, episode 5. Be back for episode 6. I'm gonna go shucks right now. Comedy night tonight, so that's what I'm looking like, so.